This is Padres.
It's my time to ride out. It's my time. It's my time to ride it out. It's your time. Oh.
Hey everyone, we're so excited that you've come to join us for our very first episode. My name is Melissa.
And I'm David.
And this is Padres. We are Padres, but that's not all we are. In this podcast, we're going to be talking about a lot of things beyond kids and having conversations that go way beyond parenting. So for our first episode, I really wanted to talk about who we were before kids and how that's changed us and who we are now. Mm-hmm. Sound good?
Let's do it.
Let's get into it. Okay, I have some notes because I'm a little forgetful, but it's okay. It's okay. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to dive into is just kind of give people a feel for who we were before we had kids, just like growing up.
Yeah.
So how about we start with how would your like closest friends describe you growing up? Because I feel like that's like when I try to think of like how I would describe myself, it's harder for me to come up with things. But for some reason, when I phrase it as like how would your friends describe you, I come up with a bunch of things.
Yeah.
So do you want to start?
Yeah. I think my friends would describe me as the social butterfly of the group. Mm-hmm. You know, I make friends easily. I get along with everyone really easily. I talk a lot.
Were you always like that?
Always. Never shy. Okay. My Uncle Jeff always said to Pops how I just had so much to say. You know? Like so many words and how I just was so lively, you know, just so eager to make friends and have fun, you know. So I think they definitely would describe me as that. Also as extremely competitive, you know.
Okay.
Like Stefano has that funny story where I was playing.
Your brother?
Yeah, my brother Stefano. He was in middle school. He said we were in gym or in recess inside, and I was playing one-on-one with another friend, basketball. And he said he threw the basketball in between me and the other player playing, and he goes, it didn't even faze you, you know, like he completely ignored it. You were so into the game. So yeah, definitely competitive and athletic and just happy-go-lucky.
That's how your friends would describe you?
Yeah, that's how my friends would describe me, yeah.
I think growing up, my kind of identity was like a goody two-shoes. Everyone in my family nicknamed me the angel. And that's probably how my friends would have described me. Like I was such a goody two-shoes, honor roll, straight A. They probably would say I was quiet. Everybody said I was quiet. I mean, not around my friends, but whatever. I felt like I knew everything about my future. Like I felt like I had it all figured out. Like I had a plan and that's how it was going to go. A big thing that I think they would probably say is I never swore. Like I was so straight edge. If I got off track, like even just a little bit, I felt so terrible about myself.
Oh my God.
For whatever reason. I remember my mom telling me that I would like get upset over getting a B, which is ridiculous.
You were like extremely straight edge. We were straight edge, but we were like...
What do you mean we?
Like me and my group of friends. We didn't like go to parties. We didn't drink. We didn't do anything.
Swear? No.
Not in front of my parents.
Okay, well I did not at all. I just thought it was like the most terrible thing you could do. I'd say by the time I got to college, none of my close friends went to the same college as me, and I felt like I had a new like opportunity to kind of create myself, I guess, because I felt so pressured growing up to be, you know, that perfectionist that everybody saw me as. You know, that kind of persona was like, it became so much of my identity that I felt the pressure to live that way every day. And then when I got to college, I felt like I have a clean slate and I can, I guess, just be myself, really. Like, I don't have to, what's the word I'm looking for? Live up to anybody else's expectations, you know?
You kind of freed yourself.
Yeah, because growing up, everyone expected me to get straight A's. Everyone expected me to do the right thing. Everyone expected me to be the angel. You know, Melissa would never do this. Melissa would never say that. Like, if I swore in high school, I think everyone would faint.
Really?
Like, there's no way. Like,
sure
getting
costing me a
a
lot.
tattoo, no way. I'm sure nobody guessed that I would ever get a tattoo. And I always said that, too. I would say, I'm never going to get a tattoo. Why would I do that to my body? Blah, blah, blah. And look at me. I was the first one of my trio sisters to get a tattoo, but whatever. So anyway, I got to college and I just felt like this sense of freedom because nobody knew me. And I don't know, I felt like I started swearing from day one. Like, I had such a potty mouth. And because I felt like, I don't know anybody. Who's going to judge me? Like, who cares? You know? It was just kind of a freeing experience. And to be honest, I don't know if we would have clicked that well before college because I was so critical of myself and probably a little judgmental too.
Really?
Yeah, because I had all these expectations of myself and I felt like anybody that I, you know, hung out with should be that way too.
The worst thing I did in high school was stay out past curfew. That's the worst thing.
I don't even think I thought about that.
That's definitely actually not the worst thing. I did get
Yeah, I don't think that was even a thought.
I did get in trouble once.
Tell us about it.
It's so dumb. I graffitied a wall in an alley with a friend. And I don't know, someone snitched on us. I don't really remember who or if I ever found out. But yeah, it's the most trouble I got into. Like,
that was the worst of
that was the worst of my bad boy. You know, that was my bad boy
era. That lasted a day.
Yeah, it lasted. Yeah, but like the repercussions sucked. You know.
Yeah.
I missed out on a soccer tournament and playing varsity soccer my sophomore year because of it, which I thought was extreme because it happened outside of school and not on school grounds.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They felt like I needed a repercussion to not ever do it again. Like, but I wasn't that kid. Like, my mom could give me a bad look and I'd be like, I'm so sorry, I'll never do it again. You know?
Yeah.
I was that type of kid.
That was me too, actually.
So for me, it felt super, just very extreme. And I never did anything bad again until, you know, college.
What? Oh.
Illegal, you know.
Okay.
But not like, now it's not illegal.
Okay.
So it's not that bad now, you know. But, yeah, I was not a risk taker, I guess you could say, in high school. Like, I kept within what I thought I was capable of.
So you were kind of in between, like, goody two-shoes and semi-rebel. I wouldn't even say rebel.
Yeah, no, I was not rebellious.
Rebellious moments.
Yeah, I wasn't super rebellious at all, you know.
Okay, so maybe we would have clicked a little bit.
Yeah, we were pretty straight edge in high school, me and my group of friends.
Yeah.
You know.
And then we just let it all out in college.
Yeah, me and the guys were talking about it, like how
really?
Script flipped as soon as we graduated high school.
Freedom!
Yeah, it's like, we're 18 now, we're adults, you know.
It's kind of like we were, like, rediscovering ourselves again, though, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, once you leave your house for the first time.
But this is how innocent we were when we all turned 18. We were like, let's go out and stay past curfew and just see if anyone talks. As soon as we turn 18, and you know, and see if anyone stops us. You know, like, we're 18. You can't tell us
Yeah.
to go home. We're not doing anything weird.
Oh my gosh.
And we did. We like, it was in the middle of winter. We were, me and Stefano are both February babies. So we turned 18 in the middle of winter. It was snowing like crazy outside, and we went out for a walk. Hi, Winnie.
She will sometimes sit with us throughout the podcast, and she's going to be quiet.
So yeah, we went out at like 2 a.m. after playing video games and hanging out, and just went for a walk around town. And the only people out were people shoveling, like the workers that were shoveling the snow. And we just thought we were so cool.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
So dumb.
Literally, the most I did in high school was like circle the parking lot of Target.
Yeah.
So, what made you, like, in those moments growing up, what are some things that made you feel most like yourself? Like, for me, the three things that come to my mind are soccer, math, and making A's. I know that sounds so lame, but truly, like, doing well academically was my identity. Like, I felt terrible about myself if I didn't do well in school, which is a little sad, but that's when I felt like the most me. And when I was playing soccer, that was like my first love. Honestly, if I was playing soccer, I was the happiest. I never wanted to stop, honestly. And I didn't play as much in high school.
Do you feel like sad about that you didn't get to play or didn't
In
play
high
as
school,
much?
yeah, I was really upset about it. That's why as soon as I got to college, I got back into it.
Yeah.
Because I had missed it.
Yeah.
I tried different things in high school. Like, I tried theater, and did I try basketball? I think that was in middle school. But I was also like in band, and I was in a lot of extracurriculars. But I do regret not playing as much in high school because I missed it so much. And then also, I enjoyed math so much. I'm such a nerd for
math.
And that also kind of,
Pythagorean theorem.
yeah, I could
I definitely
recite
said
so
that
many.
wrong.
And people would say that that was part of my identity as well. Like, I was just known as the math whiz in my family and with my friends too. So
Yeah, you
those are
helped
the...
a lot of them cheat, didn't you?
David? You're not going to say that. You're not going to say that right now.
You were the plug, as
Stop.
kids say now.
I was good, okay?
You were the math plug.
No. I tutored a lot of people.
Hey, yo, Melissa, let me get that calculator.
Oh, David! I'm editing that shit
No,
out.
that was
Yeah.
so great. It's
No.
so
That's
far
another
gone
thing.
from...
I tutored a lot of people from middle school throughout high school and actually in college too.
I wish I had you in high school.
I know
I
you
definitely
did.
needed tutoring, especially in math. Like, I did so well in all the other
Yeah.
subjects, but in math I sucked. So I wish I had you.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
It would have made life a lot easier.
So what about you? Well, what made you feel like the most you? Like, what things?
Soccer.
Soccer, yeah.
I mean, I played soccer year-round club or, playing in winter leagues with adults. I was always playing soccer or just sports.
It just feeds your soul, doesn't it?
It does. That's me. When I'm on the
Yeah.
field, I just feel just
In
so
your
at
element.
peace. Yeah, just
Yeah.
at peace and in my element. And nothing, outside of family makes me feel better. Definitely the other part of me was family, just being family oriented too.
Oh, I should have said that too.
Soccer was amazing for me, but also being with my family was
Yeah.
amazing. Like, I was my sister's road dog, always with her forever since I was a baby, since I was tiny. I was always attached to her hip, and she took me, we went to the city every weekend to go do stuff, to go to the flea markets, to go eat tacos, to just hang out in general.
You were hemorrhoid number one.
Yeah, I was.
The OG hemorrhoid.
I was the OG hemorrhoid. But and then just going to my uncle's for family cookouts to watch boxing matches. Family was huge for me. My best memories are hanging out with the family and soccer.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
No.
Okay, so after kids, that's when everything changes.
Oh yeah, you have to kind of reinvent yourself a little
Well,
bit.
it's just inevitable, right? Like people
Yeah.
change as they get older, but there's no way anybody stays the same after they have kids. And it's not a bad thing.
No.
It's just getting older. It's the way of life, right?
Yeah.
You bring a human into the world, it's going to change.
There's
you.
definitely some people that try to fight it, and one of my favorite comedians, Louis C.K., he says about parenthood and becoming a parent, just let it happen. Let it change you,
Yeah. You think people try to fight it? How?
There's definitely some people that are like not as what's the word?
Maybe like accepting of it.
Not just accepting,
Maybe that it
but
gets them depressed or something.
yeah, or they just have a hard time adjusting, in general, or just
I think
they
that's
want to
normal
do
too,
the
though.
things that they used to do, and it kind of makes them upset that they can't do it, and they don't put their energy towards their family, or their kids.
Yeah,
It
I think it's just the phase you're in. It's just a kind of a realization that you have to have once you have kids. But
and it's a big fear for a lot of people too, in even having kids, is
oh yeah,
knowing that there's going to be change,
Right.
expecting the change, and just not, being ready for it.
So let's talk about the most unexpected changes. I think for me, number one was sleep. And I know that sounds weird because like everybody thinks about how you're going to lose sleep when you have kids, but you don't know until you know. Am I
Oh
speaking
yeah,
the truth? Like
no, definitely.
you can think about not sleeping, but you don't know how little sleep you have to run off of after having kids, unless you hit the jackpot and you have a newborn.
A Dylan.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. He is 1 in a million.
Yeah,
That's
Zuli was
not
lucky.
fair.
Zuli
But
was very
for
lucky.
most people out there, I mean, sleep is like non-existent. I remember we would have to run on like 2 hours of sleep. We would have like 2-hour like shifts. Remember that? Like, okay, I'll set the timer for 2 hours and you can sleep. And then after that, I'll sleep for 2. Like, that's how bad it was. And I just remember being in like a constant mode of like fatigue for months. I think that for me was a big shock.
Yeah, I guess it's different for everyone. I mean, it is different for everyone, but for us, the lack of sleep was, a very small part of our lives at that
True.
moment in time. From our circumstances, what we went through with our first child, getting to bring home our second child, sleep to me was not important. I was so happy that we were blessed to be able to bring this baby home. So it was easier to endure that sleep deprivation because I was just so happy
I
that
agree.
I had this baby.
I agree.
in my arms.
It helped me and us get through that. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't mind it as much.
Because there was definitely a difference between Cece
Yeah.
and Benny.
Right.
And,
Can you sit down,
the
please?
sleep deprivation with Benny hit so much harder. Even though I got,
no, I
for
don't
me,
think so.
for me, it
Oh.
hit so much harder. With Cece, I got less sleep,
Yeah.
But with Benny, for some reason, for me, and just
Like,
physically,
I can't do this
it just
again.
hit hard. Oh, I was such a little bitch for sure. I was
Yeah,
definitely.
but you also had a toddler.
I know, I had a toddler too, but I was definitely a little bitch all the time. Like,
Yeah,
I was
you
definitely
were.
mean.
Thank you for admitting that.
I was definitely mean to
You heard it here first. This is Padres.
I was definitely mean to you. I was definitely,
Oh, you
more.
were definitely. Oh, we're giving all the tea now. You were
Yeah, I
definitely.
was an ass. I couldn't, for some reason, I couldn't handle it as well as with Cece, and every kid is different. Every experience is different. Nothing's going to be the same. Like the big thing was like, even with children, growing up with the same parents in the same household, your parents are two different people
So true.
for each child.
Yeah.
It's
Every kid has a different experience.
each kid has a different experience, which makes them who they are. It's not the same for each child. And yeah, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm
Thank
so sorry
you.
for being a butt. And
It's
not
okay. I forgive you.
yeah.
Another unexpected change was the realization that nothing is on your own terms anymore.
Yeah.
Like everything now revolves around this tiny little human. So every decision you make,
You have to include.
you have to consider this person. I mean, you just went out to do a Target run at what, 7:30 at night? Don't you miss just making those decisions like before kids? You cannot leave the house without making sure someone's here with the kids. That's illegal, So that was pretty hard for me. And in the beginning, you kind of feel trapped a little bit. You have to.
Especially with a newborn, you have to make sure your diaper bag is packed, you have milk,
Yeah, they come with a lot of baggage. Yeah.
you have the car set up, with the stroller and everything.
Oh my gosh. You just don't even leave the house when they're that
You
little.
have to time it too. It's like, oh, they usually take a nap at this time.
Oh yeah, naps too.
Yeah, like it's
yeah, that was hard too. Naps.
so much planning.
You don't think about that. When they're that young, they need to stay home so much.
Because structure is
right.
the best thing for kids.
Right, they need to nap.
The best thing.
So that sucked. I remember thinking like, I am friggin' stuck here. Like I can't just leave, But yeah,
Especially if you live in a place like Chicago where there's winters. And Cece was a winter baby. It's like we have to make sure this kid is stuffed,
bundled up.
just to make sure she doesn't freeze,
Yeah.
So
What
crazy.
about you? Were there any other unexpected changes that you didn't think about?
The mass amount of laundry you do with just one kid.
That was unexpected.
It was unexpected. I didn't think that this tiny little baby was going to make that much more laundry to do. It's not one extra
just
load that
gets
you're doing
worse.
for this kid. You're doing like 2 extra loads. You gotta clean their sheets often. You think you're going through 1 pair of clothes a day. You're going through like 3.
Yeah.
You
They're
know?
so little at that age.
Yeah,
So-
but still, that was unexpected. Especially because I hate doing laundry.
Was there a moment that you realized that you're not the same person anymore?
I don't think there's a specific moment where I realized that I wasn't the same person. I think just gradually over time, you see the changes. I think the number one thing that's changed with me is that I used to be a big night owl. I used to love staying up
that's
late at
so
night
changed.
and playing video games and all that stuff. And now it's like 9:30 and just like drooling. Even when I go hang out with friends, I'll be falling asleep with hanging, like, even though I'm trying to hang out with them, it's like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and I'm like, and they're like, David, wake up. I'm like, I'm sorry, guys, I can't do it. I know you guys stay up late, but I can't. That's a big change. just gradually, I guess, I noticed little things. But not,
There
I
wasn't
can't
one
remember
specific
one specific
moment.
moment where it's
Okay,
just
let
like,
me try to help you out because I do have a specific moment. Maybe
Yeah.
that'll help you remember a little bit of this experience. So, when I was thinking about this, is there a specific moment that you felt like that you as a person had changed? I was thinking there is a moment that I felt like I can't stay the same. That's what I was feeling. After having kids, you kind of go through a little bit of an identity crisis.
yeah,
Growing up, I had always wanted to be a mom, and I thought about it all the time, and I felt like I knew how I was going to be as a mom. But just because you have a kid doesn't mean you know how to be a mom instantly. You don't become a mom the second you have a kid. I mean, you do technically, but you don't know what you're doing just because you birthed a child.
Yeah.
Just because you've thought about it. And I remember we were talking about how we were before we were kids. I was such a perfectionist. I was super critical of myself, couldn't do anything wrong, wanted to please everybody in my family, to uphold this kind of persona of like just being good all the time. So I remember like when Cece was like 1, you don't really like reprimand or like discipline kids until they're really like 2. Don't you agree? Like you don't put a 1-year-old in timeout.
No.
Like this, if you do, let me know how you did it because we did not. So it was around when she was like 2 years old. And like our family has always been around our kids. We've always made it a point to bring our kids around our family.
Yeah, we're very family oriented.
Right, and they've always come around our kids. So it's not like I wasn't used to my family being around. But, when Cece became 2, I mean, it was the terrible 2s. And we were both starting to kind of discipline her more, because she was getting older and, 2, in my opinion, is just the worst age, at least for our kids. It was terrible. And I remember, one of the first moments my family was around and Cece was misbehaving somehow. I don't remember the exact thing she was doing, but whatever. She was being a 2-year-old. And I was reprimanding her. I was trying to tell her not to do something, or the whole time I felt like I was kind of being judged by, not that they were, but I felt like my family had all eyes on me, and they were kind of expecting me to handle reprimanding her and disciplining her in the most perfect way, because that's who I was. I was supposed to be the perfectionist. I do everything right. I am like a good person, so I should know how to do this in the best way. And I just remember feeling so much pressure to reprimand her or discipline her in the way that they thought I should discipline her. And I just remember it, after that day, thinking back about it, why am I so nervous about being a mom to my own child in front of my family?
Yeah.
And that's the moment that I thought, I need to change. I can't stay this person that's so critical of myself and trying to please everybody to uphold this persona. I need to just parent the way that I think I should parent. Everyone has different parenting styles. There's no one parenting style that's the right way. Do you agree with that? And I just remember thinking, I need a change. I can't keep up with this. It's not going to work.
Do you feel like it's easier now just to...
Oh, yeah, for sure. Once I kind of let that pressure off of myself and just let it go, I just reminded myself of my intentions. Like, my intentions are, and our intentions are just to guide our kids to become, loving, caring, good human beings that make good choices for themselves and others. So I just let that pressure off, and then I was just like, I'm just going to do what I want.
Yeah.
My rebellious side came out.
It must be interesting to see, or it must be interesting for our parents to see the change in us becoming
Yeah.
parents. I think the
I was
funniest...
self-conscious about it at first.
But yeah, it's funny to see our parents see us becoming parents. It's a funny thought.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about who we are now. Now we're a few years out. Who are we in present day?
I think we're providers for our kids. We do whatever we can to make sure their days are filled and that they're having fun and that they're happy. And I think a big motivator in life for me right now is to be able to provide for them. Give them the opportunities to become good human beings, to be reliable, for our kids. I guess the change in me now is just how much being able to provide for them motivates me. I'm, in a way, just less selfish, Of course, there's things that I want for myself. And maybe my career right now is not what I want to do. But I know that if I put work into it, I can really provide for our family.
I think for me, I'm obviously very much in my mom era. Every day I'm motivated to kind of, I wouldn't say every day, I'm not motivated every day. But I try to be the best version of myself because I know my kids are going to witness a lot of that while they're young. While our kids are young, they're with you the most that they'll ever be in their lives.
Yeah.
So why not try to be the best version of myself while they're with me? I feel like growing up, I had a lot of pressure on myself to uphold, this persona of being perfect. It's important for me to let my kids know that it's okay to not be perfect. Trying is important. Being uncomfortable builds character. Try to listen and learn before you make up your mind about something, because change is inevitable. And it's normal, and staying the same is impossible. I remember growing up, one of the things that I always wanted to try was dance.
Yeah.
And I didn't because I just felt like I would fail at that. And, me being a perfectionist, like failure was a huge fear of mine. So if I felt like I was going to fail at something, I just didn't even try. But I loved dancing. And I loved the thought of dancing. And I just wished that I had tried it. Right now, being a mom right now, I feel a little hypocritical. Our kids are in dance. Our kids love dancing. But they have their moments, especially Cece. Benny's just he's all confidence. But, Cece will, get nervous about things. It's totally normal. But as her mom, I encourage her to try things, and I tell her to face her fears, and it's okay to be nervous, but that's not a reason not to try. I feel hypocritical telling her to, try and face her fear when I didn't do that. So that's kind of why I tried dancing as an adult, because I felt like here I am preaching to my kids to try new things and be okay with being uncomfortable, and I wasn't doing it myself. So I'm proud of myself for that.
I think my personality helps them be dorks in public. You know,
Oh, yeah.
I don't really care what other people think of me
Yeah,
or what
that's
I
good.
say. So I'm always dancing or being a dork in
I feel
Target in
like
the
you've helped
aisles.
me with that too.
Yeah, well, I like being goofy, doing dumb stuff or just embarrassing you guys
Yeah.
when we're out
You
in
gotta live your
public.
life.
Yeah.
What parts of you do you feel like is in hibernation? And what are you okay with leaving behind? And this is kind of funny because I feel like, it's so common for people to think that after they become a parent that they kind of lose themselves, right? And that they can't do the same things that they used to. But I really like the way this question is phrased because it's asking what parts of you have you put in hibernation? Because you don't have to lose yourself. There's parts of you that you can still enjoy, just maybe not in this phase of your life.
Yeah, I think video games.
Video games? I
Yeah,
feel like you didn't play video games a lot even before kids.
I did.
Not around me, you didn't.
That's because I was obsessed with you.
Oh, say it again.
Yeah, no, I played video games a lot growing up. You know, we grew up in the age of like video games.
Yeah, that's so true.
You know, like in like the golden era, you know, from Nintendo to PlayStation and all that stuff. So we always had the newest system. We always had a bunch of games, and that's what like we did to spend time with each other, like me and my friends, or just to relieve stress, or just not to just to escape the world. And I guess watching movies too. You know, I watch a lot less movies than
Yeah,
I usually
that's
do.
true.
Yeah,
Never
but
watch
the things
movies.
that in hibernation are definitely video games when, you know, when we don't have kids. Or when our kids are out of the house, I think I want to jump right
Go back
in.
into
Oh
it.
my god, yeah,
Go to a
hardcore.
movie, like the actual theater.
Yeah, definitely. But
Yeah.
you know, but I long to play video games, but if I am to spend time with the kids or with you, you know, it takes the back seat, and I'm okay with that. You
Yeah.
know, it's because I'd rather spend time with you and the kids.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, eventually, one day.
I
You
think
know, it sucks. Like all my friends have PS5s or the newest Xbox, and they're
sucks.
playing Call of Duty. And like when I went to go hang out with
are?
Queese, yeah, when I went to go hang out with
Such an
Queese, we played the
old
new
video
Call of
game.
Duty for like 2 hours.
there's a new one?
Oh, there's a new one every year, but we played the
Oh
new
my
Call of Duty for
God.
like 2 hours,
know that.
and I forgot how much fun it was. And I sucked in the beginning, but after like 30 minutes, I got back into the groove, and you know, had like a 26-5 kill death ratio.
I'm getting like
You have no idea what that
Father's
means.
Day ideas for you.
What?
Video game day.
Video game?
Yeah. Would you like that?
Yeah, of course. But we
that
don't
out of
have
hibernation
any.
for a little bit?
We don't have any. I mean, I have old systems.
I'll
I have
figure
like
it
my
out, I'll figure it
GameCube
out.
and stuff, but a PS5 is $500. So
Okay, we're not
there
doing
you go.
that.
Yeah.
But maybe we could figure something else out. I think one of the biggest things for me that's in hibernation in this phase of my life, my mom era, is definitely playing soccer. Like, I never thought I wouldn't be playing soccer right now,
Yeah.
but it's just not realistic for me right now to be playing as much and consistently as we used to.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
I feel like
because
I could play soccer more
not
consistently.
as much as you used
Not as much
to.
as I used to, but I could play like once a week. I'm just fat right now.
Yeah,
I need to get back
once
in
a
shape.
week, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But that's enough for me.
Not me. I would love to play all the time. But I've learned to, and I've thought about this before, like, I'm not giving soccer up. There's no way. It's literally one of the loves of my life. So I'm always anticipating that I will pick it back up again. And I've kind of just talked myself through the realization that it's just the phase of life that I'm in. And right now I'm just trying to embrace that phase. I get to enjoy being a soccer mom right now. That's not going to last forever. And I want to embrace that part. We get to go to our kids' soccer games. We get to practice with them. We get to teach them. We get to help them improve. And that is so much fun.
Yeah.
Like, I remember thinking about that, like, before we had kids. Like, oh, it's going to be so much fun when, or if our kids play soccer and we get to play with them.
Yeah.
And we get to teach them and we get to talk to them about it. And we're living that right now, which is so awesome.
fun.
So that helps me
Yeah.
kind of get through this hibernation phase
Maybe
for
I'm
myself.
just telling myself that I'm okay with not playing soccer right now, but yeah, I'm not. Because when Cece was not doing judo and she was just doing club soccer, I had that extra day or two to coach her and to work with her on her skills and stuff for like an hour and a half after school. And it was so much fun. You know, like I'd be telling her what to do and just like go off to the side and just juggle.
It's always a breath
know.
of fresh air when you get back into it.
Whew,
But,
it's awesome.
but you just got to remember this, it's just a phase.
Yeah, I told Cece that we were going to watch the Champions League semifinal game this weekend on Saturday to 3 p.m.
God, it would be so amazing if we could go to the World Cup next year.
They're so expensive. The tickets are
it's
insanely
ridiculous.
expensive.
So
They
ridiculous.
doubled the price from the last World Cup.
Okay, so is there anything that you're okay with leaving behind? Okay, I'll go first.
Yeah, I
The first thing I thought of was like the late nights and partying and clubbing. Like,
Oh, hell yeah.
I feel like that was actually such a small part of my life. Like, that did not last.
No.
I wasn't interested in that for very long. It was probably like a good 2, maybe 3 years. Like, going out, we would literally go out at like 11.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care to drink. Like, we don't drink.
I'd rather have friends over for
Yeah,
like a night
and then they
just,
go
like,
home at
chill
10.
and hang out. Yeah.
But that's kind of how we got into the idea of this podcast, is because we like to just chill and conversate with like the people that are closest to us. And that's my idea of like a good time now.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, come over, have some coffee, snacks, like let's just talk and chill. Let's just
catch
chill.
up.
Like, I want to be in my pajamas and under a blanket. Like, I don't want to be in a dirty club with loud music. Like, I'm so over that. That could stay in the past for me.
Definitely.
I feel like I grew out of that pretty fast, though.
I feel like that was never really my scene. Anyways.
It was never your scene. Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah.
I can tell. I kind of dragged you out to those nights.
I was perfectly okay being at home.
You were
Always.
perfectly okay being home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even at a young age.
Me
I
too.
wasn't like a hermit, but
Yeah, but you were. You never felt like motivated to go party, like college parties.
yeah, I mean
House
that's different. Like house
parties.
parties are way more fun than going to a club. In my
Yeah,
opinion,
true.
Way more
But it's
fun.
all under the same umbrella.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. Like, your phase of the partying era. you know?
Definitely. I mean,
Like, I'm done with it.
yeah. Like if
No
if
more.
I were to black out now, I'd be so disappointed in myself.
There's no way I would ever come close
Get to that point. Oh my
anymore.
god.
No way.
Yeah.
I mean, on Easter I had like
It's scary
one
thinking
glass
back
of
now,
wine,
like
and I was like, I'm good.
going to a college party and then waking up not where I was before.
That's
going-
happened to you, dude?
Yeah. And Stefano
God.
being like, dude, you were so fucking annoying.
Crazy.
I had to help you get back, you know?
Oh my
I'm
God.
like, well, I don't have no recollection. The last
scare me for our
recollection I have
kids.
of that night is drinking jungle juice, dancing by myself on a
Jungle
dance
juice.
floor.
Oh my God. Jungle juice. Every beer smelled the same to me. I don't know why. I mean, I know I don't know a lot about beer, but
Yeah, I love beer.
there's a certain beer that just smells like college to me.
Probably
What?
the cheap beer.
Pabs.
Paps.
Is that what it's called?
PBR. Yeah.
Okay, so for our last segment, I was thinking we could do something called Trash or Treasure. Trash or Treasure.
I,
You want to do it with me? Treasure, treasure. Okay, so trash or treasure is going to go like this. Basically, I'm going to read off a quote.
yeah.
And at the count of 3,
Oh my God, Winnie.
this is
Okay.
if you hear long pauses or like pitter patters or licks or just any kind of annoying sound, it's Winnie, our dog. Basically, I will read off a quote. We will tell each other whether we think it's trash or treasure. If it's trash, that means, if you say it's trash, that means you don't agree with the quote. Maybe you think it's outdated or whatever. If you say it's treasure, that means you obviously do agree with it. And then we'll just explain ourselves. Sound good? Okay. So the quote is, you have to lose yourself a little to find yourself again.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go
Let
ahead.
me say it again. The quote is, you have to lose yourself a little to find yourself again. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Treasure. I agree. You want to go first?
What was the quote again?
Seriously, David?
Yeah.
We're starting over again. The quote,
No, just read it back to me.
I am. The quote is, you have to lose yourself a little to find yourself again.
Yeah. You definitely. I mean, it's pretty much what we've been talking about this whole time is change, and how having kids changes you, or just things in life that will happen to you will change you, and it's an inevitable process of life. That's why I think it's treasure.
Yeah, I agree with the quote too. I think you lose yourself because you're finding yourself. So, in regards to having kids, like we were saying, parts of you are going to be in hibernation. You're not going to be able to do all of the same things that you used to be able to do, or it's just going to look very different, right?
You may have to do it less, you know.
Right, or it's just going to be different. Obviously, like traveling is very different now. And in that process, you have to kind of navigate a different way of doing things, which inevitably will change you. So you're kind of just rediscovering yourself while you're losing yourself. So I agree with that. Your priorities shift. I mean, kids just change you. I don't see
Life changes
how
you.
it would be possible not to
Yeah, no, I mean,
change.
not just besides kids, life in general changes you. The experiences you have as a young adult.
Hey, like think about like our nephew is around the same age as we were when we first met. And when I look at him, I think like, were we like that when we were younger? He's just a kid.
He's
He's
changing.
truly a kid. Yeah, he's changing, of course, because he's getting older.
Yeah.
But can you imagine being the same person you were at that age now? There's no way. Like, it would not work. The kids would be like shit out of luck if we were that, you know? So I think it's a good thing. Change is a good thing. And I think it's all about embracing it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I agree.
Okay, we're going to wrap up here. This is where we'll end our first episode. We are so grateful for everybody that came out to listen to our very first Padres episode number 1. And we hope you come back next week. If you're listening on launch day, April 25th, this is actually a really special day for us. David and I became parents on this day 8 years ago. So we just want to say happy birthday, Jude. We love you and we miss you. And we actually released a bonus episode explaining our story with Jude. So go check it out.
Follow us on all our socials, Instagram, TikTok.
Yeah, leave a comment on Instagram just about what you thought of the episode. If you have any ideas for topics that you want us to talk about. Yeah. Or if you have any quotes for Trash or Treasure that you want us to go
Give
over.
us some ideas.
Yeah. So we release new episodes every Tuesday. The second episode is going to be about body hair. So tune in next Tuesday and we'll see you there. Bye.
Bye, guys.